And then you can have augmented reality through your phones and through your tablets. And I think that's obviously how probably most of us first experience it. Certainly how I first experienced it. So you have various different apps for viewing kind of objects in the real world. So what's commonly done there is an object will have you will put something called a QR code on the object, and that will allow your device to read that to read. It's basically like a barcode, and it sort of can read that barcode or that QR code, and then on the screen, it will then show the physical object, but then the virtual stuff projected on top of that. So, just as an example, which you can all kind of go and have a look at, again, Daiquiri have developed some a good kind of it's kind of like a game for viewing chemistry elements. It's called Elements 4D, Elements 4D, because augmented reality allows you to see. I'll let you read the website for more details on that. But anyway, it's called Elements 4D. You can download it from Google Play, I think.
Yeah, we'll put a link again.
Yeah, great. And it also works on the Mac platform. So it basically kind of you can build these blocks out of paper, and they have the QR codes on them. So they're just squares. Squares. And you can basically point your kind of device, your smartphone, tablet at these squares which are on a cube, and then it will read those and show you the element, and then you can sort of touch it and interact with it. So it's important to say, I think there's also that element of being able to interact with the kind of virtual objects. So for example, if you look at kind of Meron Grobetz's TED Talk about Meta, he shows how you can physically interact using your hands with the augmented kind of with the virtual object in front of you, which is obviously a powerful kind of means of really allowing you to learn in a much more kind of experiential way, which is important from a psychological
That's what was
point
coming to
of view
mind
as
for me there, because this interactive sense seems important. And of course, one thing that's happening is this classic virtual reality, augmented reality distinction seems to be slightly breaking down, which is probably a good thing as it becomes more of a sliding scales of degrees of isolation from what we would typically consider the physical environment, which is good. It's interesting. The other thing, when you're talking about smartphones and sometimes even simplistic use of these technologies, even things like Snapchat or these various apps have these sort of fascinating augmentations where they'll change and warp you when you're looking at yourself on the camera.
Yes,
These seem, while simple and playful, they seem very, very important in democratizing these things to some degree and getting people thinking about them and familiar with them and aware of them. Because I've had a chance to try HoloLens briefly. I've been in Daiquiri but haven't had a chance to see anything. I know they're doing some fairly serious stuff. We obviously understand it's early days with some of this, and we need to be a little bit patient, but at the same time we don't want to be too patient. We want to kind of get this out to the masses and have a good feedback loop going on, and preferably a lot of people creatively working on projects themselves. Where do you see that going with augmented reality?
Yeah, again, I think it's these are really important questions. I think it's important to realize, as you said, that augmented reality is probably on a growth curve which is behind virtual reality. So by that I mean, virtual reality, we should start to see these. I think the products are probably going to be on the market. I don't know what the price tag will be, but they should be coming on the market kind of this year. I think and by that I mean virtual reality is kind of gaming and stuff will start to incorporate these things. I think augmented reality is really, at the moment, it really is about kind of helping people in their kind of work contexts, and I think it might take a bit more time for that to be picked up and actually used for in other kind of areas. However, it certainly is being used. I mean, the best example is probably Pokemon Go at the moment. It's the first really augmented reality game,
example,
and obviously that kind of took the world by storm last year. So I think that really shows you the power of AR, of augmented reality. And I think just some small facets of that. Again, taking people away from just being on their screens. A lot of people, there was a lot of talk about how augmented reality actually got people to walk outside and actually do exercise. You know, I mean, go for walks and go to various places around town to find, you know, to capture their Pokemon. That otherwise they'd be sitting at home, kind of, you know, playing the game on their desktop or on their kind of laptop in one place. I think that's really, you know, it's kind of a simple thing, but it's massively powerful. You know, for, you know, say interventions in psychology where you're trying to get people to exercise more who really aren't kind of maybe, you know, into exercise, but, you know, you're kind of getting exercise in through the back door.
Absolutely.
There. And I think that's, you know, so there's a lot of, you know, that kind of, I think where games begin, everything else follows.